There's no doubt that most who consider a Retroid Pocket will focus solely on what it can do as an emulation device. However, because it uses the Android operating system, we can greatly expand on its abilities. As I've demonstrated in prior videos, the vast number of games available to us on the Google Play Store allows us to expand on its library. But there is a smaller and possibly overlooked aspect of having Android OS support, and that comes to fan games and unofficial ports of games and engines that have been made for the platform. So please join me, the Retro Tech Dad, as we explore some interesting titles that have made their way to Android in an unofficial capacity and explore fan games that have native Android versions. Now before we start talking about some games, you may be wondering why I have an extra Retroid Pocket 3 here. I am so excited to share that while making this video I hit my 1,000 subscribers milestone. I really want to say that I am deeply humbled by the response from the community. This was a milestone that I did not think I would reach for many more months. The support from established channels like Team Pandori and Retro Handhelds early on was so helpful for my journey. And so, to say thank you for the support, I've decided to host a giveaway. This giveaway is open to everyone, including my friends overseas. The way to enter is very simple. Please comment down below in this video and tell me your favorite game, and hit that like and subscribe button. Your comment will be counted as your entry. Now, I reached 1,000 subs in a little over 2 months on YouTube, so my goal is to reach 1,500 subscribers, and when I hit that milestone, I will announce the winner. So please share and let others know about their opportunity to win a Retroid Pocket 3. I hope that as the channel grows, I can have bigger and better giveaways to continue showing my appreciation of the support. Thank you again for stopping by and joining me on my explorations and helping me satisfy my curiosity and need to tinker. I'm so excited I finally have an opportunity to discuss this incredible fan remake of Metroid 2. It was originally released for Windows back in 2016 by Dr. M64. Unfortunately, Nintendo did send out DMCA takedown requests, and the game isn't publicly supported anymore. Thankfully, there is a native Android version that works perfectly with the Retroid Pocket 3, including full controller support. This is a great way to experience the game, and if you are even remotely a fan of Metroid, it is 100% well worth checking out. Now, I can't share any links to the game, but a quick Google search should yield the results you need. Now here we have an unofficial fan port of Cuphead for Android. I believe this was created by a single developer over at XDA Developers, and so the port isn't perfect. In fact, there are obvious bugs and issues with the game. The built-in controls of the Retroid Pocket do work right out of the box, but at times can act strange, especially when navigating menus. Regardless, it's cool to see Cuphead playing on the Retroid Pocket 3 even in this capacity. Now if you're not familiar with Cuphead, this is an incredibly difficult side-scrolling 2D run-and-gun shooter. The graphics are inspired by old-school cartoons, and it really does a great job capturing that aesthetic. If you have any curiosity, head over to Google and check it out. It's a pretty neat fan port. Another unofficial port for Android, Undertale, is an RPG created by indie developer Toby Fox. This was originally released way back in 2015 and has since been ported to many other platforms. This is a definite indie darling that has received many awards and nominations as a Game of the Year. The story is really well done, and I'd rather not spoil anything here, so if you enjoy RPGs of a different variety, the Android fan port is a pretty solid way to experience the game. For the Retroid Pocket 3, I used the built-in gamepad mapper to set the controls, and it works great with that. Here is one that was requested by a viewer in one of my prior videos. Sonic Robo Blast 2 is a fan game built on a modified version of the Doom source engine. The game really stays true to its source material and recreates a lot of the design elements found in the Genesis Sonic games using a 3D engine. The game offers built-in controller support, but you will probably want to spend a moment remapping some of the actions to use the Retroid Pocket's controller properly. Other than that, this is an incredible fan game and a real treat for Sonic fans to play. The native Android port works great on the Retroid Pocket 3. Sonic 3 A.I.R, or Angel Island Revisited, is a fan remaster of Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles from Sega Genesis. The biggest draw for this game is that it is a widescreen remaster of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. This is just pure Genesis Sonic goodness here and makes great use of the Retroid Pocket 3 widescreen display. For this game, you will need a clean legal ROM from Steam in a collection such as the Sega Mega Drive and Genesis Classics. Once you have the APK, you can then point it to your ROM file and the game will then load without issue. This one had native controller support and I didn't need to do any mapping. I will say that Sonic 3 in widescreen is glorious and this one is a really well done fan remaster. So before I show off Portal, I want to discuss the Source Engine ports to Android. Portal is just one of the few games that you can play with the Source Engine, the other notable games being Half-Life 2 and the subsequent episode releases. I recommend heading over to the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus and 3 Game Compatibility Worksheet on Google Drive, which is hosted by my friends at Retro Handhelds. This is a fantastic resource for any Retroid Pocket owner that covers Android, emulation, and much more. So from here, you can head over to the Community Test tab and then scroll down to one of the source games that you want to play. You can see that instructions are provided to get source games running. So click on the link, which will take you to an excellent breakdown of how to install these games. Okay, so now let's check out Portal running on the Retroid Pocket 3. As you can see, this game is running pretty well, and it's just so neat to see it running on a device like the Retroid Pocket. Okay, similar to the Source Engine, Doom 3 was ported over using Delta Touch, which provides support for 7 different Doom Engine games and their mods. Delta Touch is probably the easiest way to get this running, and it is an inexpensive paid app on the Google Play Store that is well supported by the developer. Now let's look at Doom 3 using Delta Touch. As you can see, Doom 3 is running very well on the Retroid Pocket 3. I did go into the game options and turned off features like bump mapping and shadows to get smoother performance. It's absolutely insane to me to see this game running on something like the Retroid Pocket 3. I remember desperately getting my PC build up to snuff just to be able to run it, and here we are playing it on a $130 handheld device that fits in my pocket. What a cool timeline we live in.
Okay, there's a few things we need to take care of first. This is your personal data assistant. You'll need this to access all secure areas. If you get clearance for any security zones, it'll download directly.
One more that covers multiple games is Zeta Touch, and its port of build engine games such as Blood, Duke Nukem 3D, Redneck Rampage, Shadow Warrior, and Exhumed. The best part about Zeta Touch is that it is completely free to download from the developer's website, which I will have linked down below. Once you grab the APK, it's a similar setup to Delta Touch and will require you to supply your own game files. For the purposes of this video, I decided to show off Redneck Rampage, which is one of my favorite early FPS games from the DOS and early Windows days. It's hard not to love the silliness of this game with its hillbilly theme and hilarious parodies of rural American life. I remember being about 11 years old when I first read about this game in an issue of EGM or PC Gamer and being so envious of PC gamers at the time. It wouldn't be until a few years later that I'd finally get to play it on a PC of my own. The same charm applies here for me, and being able to play it on a pocketable device like the Retroid Pocket is certainly something I could never imagine at 11 years old.
We don't take no shit from no suckers. Hold on to your butt. With the bull, you get the horn.
Moving back to some more current games, this one is an interesting title because this version is a recreation created by Torture Dev based on Nuclear Throne from Vlambeer. It is provided for free over at itch.io and is well worth downloading with a ton of polish and great support. Now, if you're not familiar with Nuclear Throne, it is a bullet hell roguelike shooter that was originally released way back in 2015 and has been since released on multiple platforms. Thanks to the efforts of Torture Dev, Android gamers now have a way to enjoy this fun game on their Retroid Pockets. The game worked right out of the box with full controller support. This is a really well done port with achievements and tons of additional features. Go check it out. Finally, one of the most exciting Android fan ports in the works and still very active in development is Hollow Knight. I remember trying this one out when I first got my Retroid Pocket 3, but was bummed out that controller support wasn't implemented. However, I knew there were plans to add it to a later build, and now I am happy to say that the Retroid Pocket 3's built-in controller is working with this game as of the latest version. This is an unofficial fan port of the game, and despite that, works surprisingly well. Now please support Team Cherry for their incredible work on Hollow Knight. I remember my first time playing through this game using Steam Link, and both being excited that Steam Link was working well for me, and also completely falling in love with this title. This is one of the finest Metroidvania games you can play, and again, if you can only play it using the Android fan port, please purchase it on Steam just to give Team Cherry some support. And with that, this video comes to an end. I hope that through my explorations of the Retroid Pocket 3, you have been able to add new games to your list. I think one of the best and possibly most underrated features of this device is the fact that it does use Android. And while not everyone may like navigating that OS, it does allow us to take our devices beyond just emulation. Do you have any other fan games or ports that you enjoy in your Retroid Pocket? Please share down below. As always, I love talking to everyone in the comments section and engaging with you, the viewer. This is the Retro Tech Dad, and thank you so much for watching. Here's to another 1,000 subs.